Tyrone Smith, you posted a message on Twitter over the weekend that kind of caught the eye of World Athletics, who has responded to your message to avoid China in after they have made a ruling, or Hong Kong making a ruling that kind of um, puts folks on the back burner kind of thing, or restricts them in a sense. Give us a sense of what your message was and why you feel the way you feel.
Yeah, so essentially, Hong Kong has been given a level of freedom that the rest of China hasn't seen ever since the British handed it back over to local rule, I think, in 1997. And since then, it's become kind of the pearl of Asia. That's the financial center of that part of the world. And it's been able to accomplish those things by having that level of freedom. That's generally how it works. And by enforcing this new law that has been obviously in protest for months. I mean, they've been protesting. They've been before we had the marches all over the world for George Floyd. Hong Kong looked equally as bad, worse. It looked worse with all the rubber bullets and the water hoses and the tear gas. And these people were protesting for their very freedom, their very liberty, just like across the world now, people of color are doing the same thing in response to the violent actions against African Americans in the United States. So my message came from a place of solidarity and just really understanding and feeling where the people of Hong Kong are coming from in terms of wanting to be able to live their life with some form of liberty, especially because there are people who grew up. Let's say if you were born in 1997, I mean, you are an adult now, you're of age, and you've had freedoms your entire life that at the stroke of a pen have been taken away from you. So I saw the response from World Athletics, and I wholeheartedly respect their right to say that. I just think it's not really a political issue. Human rights, racism, these aren't political issues. These are just like right from wrong. It's kind of black and white. And I understand wanting to protect the brand and all that, but that's kind of the point. Too many people have been trying to protect their brands for far too long, and people are suffering around the world. And I just think it'd be nice if an organization like World Athletics or the International Olympic Committee, for example, would stand up for what's right.
When you look at how they responded, because they did respond in the fact that something more political, would you want athletes that kind of follow your message? Because if the athletes take the stands, I think kind of World Athletics will be kind of forced in a way, such as what the Black Lives Matter movement has been. It's forced governments to change their way of operating, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And I think the athletes do have the power to an extent. But the thing about track and field and World Athletics is it's a slightly different type of organization where, there's 10 more people, there's 20, there's 100 more people waiting for you to say something that won't let you get meets anymore. Because, my PB is 8:34. There's probably 40 guys between 8:15 and 8:50 who could be at the same meet that I could be at. So it's really hard to speak out, but because you know that at any moment you might stop getting track meets really quickly. But you know what, Earl? I'm 35 years old. I've been doing this a really long time. I've been to just about every major track meet, almost every single Diamond League, and I've had a good go. So I feel like if I miss out on a few meets, no big deal. I mean, it's hard enough for me to get them anyway, so I might as well speak my mind, and maybe I can galvanize the rest of the athletes into action, because now is a time where everyone's starting to wake up, and I think we can keep this momentum going if we remember what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, is that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So if everyone can recognize that, every minority population, whether it's Black or gay or trans or the people in Hong Kong, if everyone can realize, or women, if we band together, it's unstoppable. As a group, we are unstoppable. So yeah.
Well, let's see where your message takes us down the road, because obviously right now everybody's watching what everybody's saying, and the fact that you got World Athletics to respond to you is a start of something, and you may end up with quite a few of the athletes on the wagon saying I won't go to China, or I wouldn't go to these places because of. And if that's the case, then job well done. And it's always a good thing to start.
Absolutely. We have to start the conversation. I know it's a huge issue, and it's incredibly complicated. But at some point, we've got to start the conversation, and we have to stand up for human rights violations. We have to stand against that, united as a free world. And it's not just in Hong Kong; it's all over the place. But I have a degree in history, and I like to stay. I've been woke for a while, as they say these days, and so every now and then I like to bring the attention to issues that maybe people aren't talking about. And the unrest in Hong Kong has been under the radar since probably obviously everything that's happened here in the United States, and with COVID especially. So I just thought, now that they tried to underhandedly pass this law when the world's attention wasn't as focused on it, let's see if we can bring some more attention to this issue, and maybe the world and the sporting bodies of the world can pressure China into, I don't know, relaxing or eradicating this law and just letting the people of Hong Kong live their lives in freedom the way they have for the past 30 years.
All right. Well, let's stay in touch, and hopefully your dream of making sure that they can be free to make decisions on their own is given in a short space of time.
Thanks, Earl.
All right. Good talking to you.